What's going on, people? Got an Examon profile for you guys for EX3 format. This deck's been a lot of fun throughout testing. Basically, the goal is to get this big boy here on the field, your DNA Digivolve level 7 Examon. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about some of the card choices and whatnot as usual. Starting off with the eggs, just playing the 5 baby demons. The 4 copies of the EX3 one, this guy's really good. When this Digimon with Drummon or Examon becomes unsuspended, he gains a 1000 for the turn. So this card is really strong. Just because when you're doing your main combo, it can make your Examon like 16k. So really strong, being able to block potentially most things aside from something like an Omnimon X antibody, I guess. But pretty much being able to block most things. And your kind of main strat with this deck is making a big tower and then forcing your opponent to attack and then like blocking them anyway. And just removing stuff like that to the point where your opponent can't really put anything on field without you getting rid of it. So similar to black or gray in that sense, but of course with the advantage of being a blue-green deck, so you've got a lot of consistency cards there. The other one's fine. This one's definitely more optional, I think, but being a control deck, I think 5 eggs is definitely what you want. So just the 5th baby demon is just the reason why I'm playing this guy. For the rookies, the 2 copies of your Floodgate Madoki, this is fine, but you typically only want a couple of these. Like if you're drawing this more often than your Dracomon, it's gonna make like your Cordramons and stuff more expensive, because the new green and blue Cordramons Digivolve for 2 if the name contains Dracomon. And as far as I know, these are the only Dracomons in the game. I think there's a red one, but these are only blue ones in the game. So these ones you definitely want to play. And Madoki's just like fine, but he's definitely the weaker of the 2 rookies. The other 2, the Dracomons, are both on play searchers. This one is from the All-4 starter, I believe. A little bit of an older one, but still really solid. Reveals the top 3 and adds a Drummon in its name from amongst those revealed cards to your hand. So this can basically search any of your level 4s, 5s, or 6s, or even except Examon, right? Because he's not a Drummon. So it searches Core Dramon, Wing Dramon, Ground Dramon, Slayer, and Break Dramon. But the second one actually does search Examon. So this one reveals top 4, and you add a green or blue with Drummon in its name, and 1 card with Examon in its name to your hand. So it's actually a reveal 4, add 2, whereas this one is just a reveal 3, add 1. So I don't know if this is just power creep at its finest. But anyways, so this guy also Digivolve for 0 on top of Baby Demon, hence why you don't ever have to worry about the fact that he's a 1 evolve cost. I guess that's their way of balancing it, but it doesn't really make a difference. He's still 3 play cost, so that's really nice. He's also got the all turns once per turn, basically the same inherited effect as the Baby Domon, so effectively being able to get your Examon to 17k, or maybe if you're even playing like something, this is underneath the Slayer Dramon, you can put him to 12, 13k with that stack as well. So overall, really solid. Definitely want to play 4 of this one. And then as far as the level 4s go, we are playing 10 copies of Cordramon. So I am playing, first of all, the I do also want to mention, so from this point onwards, like the level 4s and 5s effectively do like count like opposite things. Okay, so the blue line is evade, like effectively either having the skill evade or giving the skill evade through inheritance, and then the green line is going to be the blocker line. Okay, so you can see the new Cordramon here. Of course, they have the condition Digivolve 2 from Dracomon, but he's got evade, which basically is a keyword that says if this Digimon would be deleted, you may suspend it to prevent that deletion. Now, a couple things to mention about this. The evade keyword only applies to deletion, so it applies to battle deletion as well as deletion by card effects. It does not apply to things like DP reduction, de-digivolving, bouncing to hand, deck, all that sort of stuff. And then of course the Digimon also has to become suspended in order to prevent that deletion. This does not work if your Cordramon is already suspended and you're attempting to use evade, because you can't suspend itself. You won't be able to prevent the deletion, so just keep that in mind. So the blue line Cordramon as well as the Wing Dramon will have the evade keywords both in their main effect as well as giving it as an inherited effect to either a Drummon or Examon during all turns, by the way, which is really strong. Okay. So that's the blue line, and then 2 copies of the starter deck Cordramon, just being able to play himself from security, giving you a free body, and drawing 2 is really nice. He's also a Drummon, so why not? And then the green one, like I said, has blocker, so he's really solid actually. 6,000 2-cost blocker is definitely pretty strong, as well as giving the blocker inherited. So even if you let's say you've got this guy and you want to evolve your Wing Dramon on top of him, which you can for a 3 cost since he's a Cordramon, your Wing Dramon will then have blocker and evade. Blocker is an inherited effect, and then evade is the main effect. And then speaking of Wing Dramon, let's get to the level 5. So level 5, similar thing. Wing Dramon will have evade, Ground Dramon has blocker, and the other effects are both the exact same, where your turn, Examon in your hand can treat this Digimon as a level 6 during DNA Digivolution. So what does that mean? That means your Examon condition here that says DNA Digivolution 0 from green level 6 and blue level 6, you can essentially ignore that and pretend it says from like Wing Dramon and Ground Dramon. So basically these become your level 6s, and then you stack a Wing Dramon and Ground Dramon on top of each other, and then put your Examon on top of that. So you effectively get to skip a level, which is really strong, making it much more like easy to get out Digimon. So you get to do that, and then end of your turn, you may need to Digivolve this Digimon and one of your other Digimon with Drummon, and name 2 card from your hand for DNA Digivolution cost. So typically your play will be like have an established like Wing Dramon or Ground Dramon. Like let's say you've got Wing Dramon in the back, you promote him, and then you like hard slam your Ground Dramon or something for a cost of 7, and then he's got the exact same 2 second effects where Examon can treat it as level 6, and then end of turn will trigger, and then you can stack this guy and the Wing Dramon and fuse them into the Examon. Okay, so really strong level 5s. I think you need to play both of them at 4, and then for the level 6s, Slayer Dramon and Break Dramon. Again, they both have kind of mirroring effects. So first of all, he's got the All Turns effect, where you get to unsuspend this Digimon if it does become suspended. Now that is through any methods. It does not specify it has to be suspended via a card effect. So for example, if you suspend him, declare an attack at your opponent's security or something, you get to then unsuspend him, making him a very high utility card, being able to be really offensive with it, swinging twice, or blocking multiple times, or things like that, or even using that for his own effect, because he's got the start of opponent's main phase effect, where by suspending one of your Digimon with Drummon or Examon, including himself, you may then force your opponent must attack with one of their Digimon, if they have one, of course. So this is really strong because it basically forces your opponent to attack with whatever's coming out of the breathing area. Otherwise, they lose that Digimon, or they have to wait a couple turns to be able to out it, something like that. So essentially, like your opponent's Digimon promotes, and then it starts their main phase. If they have any start of main phase effects, those will trigger first, and then this will trigger. You can suspend the Slayer Dramon, force their Digimon to attack, and then unsuspend the Slayer Dramon, and then maybe if you got a blocker underneath it, you can then block, since you can pay the cost of suspending yourself. So that's really strong. And then the second effect here, which we'll see on the inherited effect of Slayer Dramon as well, it's the exact same. So again, it basically gives this effect to Examon as well, and I'll talk about why that's a little bit crazy in just a second. But let's get to Break Dramon. Break Dramon, similar to the Slayer Dramon, has the Digivolve 3 from Ground Dramon or Wing Dramon. So you're effectively not really using the normal Evo conditions whatsoever. Like you're never evolving with 3 or 4 on top, on top of any of your cards, pretty much, except for like Madoki. But anyway, so Break Dramon has the all turns similar to Slayer, but instead of unsuspending himself, he suspends one of your opponent's Digimon. So it's really cool in that sense, because you get to interrupt your opponent. And then once per turn, all turns, when one of your Digimon with Drummon or Examon and his name deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle and survives, you trash the top card of your opponent's security. That is an absolutely crazy effect, and once again, similar to Slayer Dramon, whose second effect was also the inherited, we see the same thing with Examon. So the cool thing about this setup is that Examon effectively lets you get to either get both of them on the field pretty easily, both effects, I mean, or 2 of the same effect. So what do I mean by that? So when you DNA Digivolve your Examon, you may place one green or blue Digimon with Drummon and his name from your hand underneath this Digimon as his bottom Digivolution card. So you're typically going to place an inherited effect you're missing or that you want. So maybe if you're missing a Vader block or something, yeah, you can put that underneath. But you're usually going to be putting a Slayer or a Ground Dramon underneath, or Break Dramon rather. So you'll put one of those, and then when DNA Digivolving, you may play one green or blue with Drummon Examon and 12,000 or less from your hand without paying the memory cost. So you basically get to evolve this. So let's say in this scenario, you evolve this guy, and then you put a Break Dramon underneath him, and then you play Slayer Dramon from your hand, passing turn. And then what you can do during your opponent's turn is start a main phase, like suspend your Slayer Dramon to make your opponent's Digimon attack, so your opponent's Digimon is attacking. This guy will unsuspend, and then this guy maybe has blocker or something, so then you can block with the Examon, and then you'll unsuspend because of the second effect. If it becomes suspended, you may unsuspend it and suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, so then you get to suspend one of your opponent's other Digimon. Maybe if they had another dude on field before they promoted, you could suspend that guy. So now both of their Digimon are suspended and one of them is attacking, then you can maybe block with the Examon, and then if you've got the Break Dramon underneath it, you will then delete their dude, and then trash the top card of security. All of this happening on your opponent's main phase. So it's a really, really cool deck in that you can interact a lot during your opponent's turn, and it's very, very annoying to deal with. Now, that's the scenario where you have one of each effect going off. Let's say you've got like two Slayer Dramons, like you've got Slayer Dramon underneath your Examon, and you've got Slayer Dramon on field. You can then trigger both of these, since you have this as an inherited effect and this on your Slayer Dramon, making it so that two of your opponent's Digimon have to attack, assuming you can suspend one of your Digimon. So let's say you've got Slayer Dramon and Examon, you can use this one, suspend your Slayer Dramon, force your opponent's Digimon to attack, and then you can do Examon's inherited effect from the Slayer, and then do the same thing, suspend this to make one of your opponent's Digimon attack. Both of them will unsuspend, and then Examon will get to suspend something else. And you've got basically your opponent's attacking with two of their Digimon, and then you can potentially like block with it, and it becomes really, really crazy. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with that. Or maybe in the sense if you've got multiple Break Dramons, you can like trash two of their security during their turn, and then being able to attack multiple times with Examon and Slayer is pretty cool. Lots of potential for aggro there as well. So anyways, that's kind of the main combos and goals behind the deck. Other cards to include: 4 copies of Blue Memory Boost. I think consistency is really important. 2 Mega Death, just because it's a really efficient removal card. 2 copies of Avalon Gate. I actually really, really like this card. Its security effect is really strong, being able to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, so acting like that Needle Spray and security, and then unsuspend one of yours, potentially giving you the chance to block again, maybe with an Examon or something like that. But his main effect, basically, you get to choose one of the following effects, or if you got Examon, you choose both. You get to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and then gain piercing for the turn, and then unsuspend one of your Digimon. So if you got Examon on field, you can like suspend something. You can unsuspend your Examon, maybe give it piercing, attack over the guy, check a security card. It's a really, really good utility card. I don't think you really need more than 1 or 2 though. That's fine. And then just 3 copies of Davis, because your whole deck is blue and green and you like +2s in the deck. So anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for the list. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments of Examon. Are you excited to play it? I am certainly not looking forward to having to buy 3 to 4 secret rare copies of this, guys. And by the way, I am actually only playing 3. I don't necessarily think you need 4 copies of Examon. I think with the 4 copies of Blue Boost, 3 Davis, and your 8 searchers, I guess 4 searches for Examon, and maybe like your other cards, I think that's you see Examon more than enough, and the games you lose, it's because you've seen too many of your high levels. So anyways, that's been this video, guys. Let me know what you're thinking down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.